Hello and welcome, I am Raziel, and so today is Thursday, which means it's a day for reviewing a model. I'm going to stick with Wild West Exodus, well, kind of, it's kind of expansion that didn't really pan out, Lost World Exodus, and we have Theodore Roosevelt, yes, that Theodore Roosevelt, the one that would become President of the United States of America. And he is riding a dinosaur. It's actually a Troodon, though I think it's based on the Troodon, which is kind of unclassified because, as far as I can see, they've only ever found a tooth. But it is a Troodon. That is what he is riding. And if I was to ever talk about Wild West Exodus on almost any time, I will guarantee I will bring up this model. I will bring up this model because, one, just the sound of it is absolutely cool. Theodore Roosevelt riding a dinosaur. What more do you really need to sell a mini? It is just a fantastic obscurity. I love it. I think the idea of it is fantastic. It's such a cool idea. It's really, really fun to have this sort of thing happen in a war game. Because it makes, good stories to tell after your game. You had Theodore Roosevelt riding his dinosaur into battle. It's just cool. And I think that's one of the best things about it. And so, first things I need to mention, this tactical rock here is not actually part of the model, okay? He fits straight onto the base. This isn't part of the model. This is something Warcradle does a lot to show off their models. They do base their models like this. So, it's very rarely you see any form of tactical rock on the model because it's basically what they've decided to do. So, there's that one forward. And then so that bit's over with. So what's so cool about him? First things first, I just love his pose. He's not sitting right on the Troodon. He's actually quite elevated, giving him a very forward position, adding so much more to his movement there. His coat flapping in the wind, and it's not all lots and lots of creases. It's as it would be if it was moving fast, very smooth down, with the odd crease right down the middle where it would be flapping in the wind. I think it's fantastic. The details on his face here, the moustache, the glasses, his goggles, so very, very cool. This model was absolute best to paint as build as well. I have painted and built this one. Yep. And where else is it? See, like the spade here, showing what sort of person he's a hunter. He has his tools that he needs for digging and everything for expeditions, because the Lost World Exodus is about an expedition into the Antarctic. So he's got all his tools there, and then we can look at the other side of him. You can see it continues here with some other little bags, his binoculars I think they are, or a cantina. So yeah, he is such a lovely looking model, and there's so much fluidity and movement in just Theodore himself without even mentioning the Troodon underneath. The Troodon again is full of great detail. Look at all these feathers on the dinosaur. Absolutely amazing. The elongated claw on the front limbs there. Really nice. I love these little horns because they're kind of weird looking. They're not straight up horns as you'd expect on most dinosaurs. Having this kind of crest, broken, divided crest here, makes it kind of look a little bit more alien, a little bit more different than what a dinosaur would actually look like, or what you would appreciate a dinosaur to look like. And including the beak here. If this was a carnivore, which is meant to be, they rarely had these beaks. These beaks were more common in things like the iguanodon and the ceratopsians. They more likely had a beak, but to give this one a beak is such a nice little touch. I really think it's cool. You got the lower half of the beak actually jutting out from the jaw and not being attached. Again, giving that sort of alien look. This isn't of this world, and given the situation being in the Antarctic, actually makes a lot of sense. And like I said, this has a very fluid movement. See how the tail is in the air there, helping it keep balance. It could have been just straight, but having that slight curve makes it look like it's keeping its balance. And we go to the back again. The way, again, you can see it better here. It's leaning forward. This leg reared up. As you can see, it's running. So this is in a very fast running pose. Again, this just is such a lovely fluid model, and it is so kinetic. I do like a nice kinetic model. I like it when a model looks like it's moving as part of it. It's just that little bit of something to the model that gives it that nice little extra touch, rather than just being a static heroic pose, especially for someone like Theodore Roosevelt, which would have been, quite adequate for him to have that big heroic pose on his Troodon, having it, very stoic, brave looking, but having it as it's actually doing something and actually moving adds so much more to his character as well. He is a hunter, he is a fighter, he is always moving forward, he's always going, he's never stopped still. He's doing everything he can to fight. There's actually literally a best thing, kind of cool quote in this one I shall like. I'm just going to bring it up down here. And I like this one. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. And this model absolutely shows that. He's not doing nothing. He's doing something. You can even see that he's actually leading someone or leading people with the way his arm is. He's pointing out forward, showing people where to go, where to fight. It's just a cool model, and I get this collar on the Troodon here. Look, got the little leather holes there. You got the studs on the actual saddle. This little bit of detail on the back of his glove, also very cool. This is such a lovely model. I really do like it. It's got that nice proper Wild West theme with his hat, and he's riding. He's cavalry, but he's also got on his Union uniform as well underneath, as you can see. But he's actually part of the Union and not just a cowboy. He really fits the theme of Wild West Exodus so well, and he is such a nice model to build and paint. He's a resin model, by the way, just so you know. And like steel boots here for on the stirrups. Such a nice model. He's such cool, and I love the fact there's like scales here, and then you got the feathers as well. This is probably one of the best models I have ever seen. The idea of him is fantastic. I just love the idea of having this Theodore Roosevelt riding a dinosaur. He's showing off that he's a hunter, that he's a leader, all at the same time. He could be hunting a pack of animals or hunting the enemy. We don't know, but he does look like he's doing something. He's after something. Okay? And this is just what I love about this. It shows off his character, it shows everything off and why this character is so cool. Now we'll go to his rules, like always. When I can, by the way. He has a movement of 7, so yes, he is very fast. He has an aim of 6, so he hits on a 4, has a save of a 4. His range attacks hit on a 4, and his grit is 6, so he saves on a 4. Only 1 fortune though, which I think we kind of have to do, because these are very high points here. He's very hard to be taken over by the Hex. He can fight really hard as well in close combat with a hitting on 3s. His heavy blaster has a fatal, it is brutal, and has a piercing of 2, which is absolutely brutal for a lot of things. Again, the only one he'll probably suffer against is Jocaster Amber, who just denies piercing overall. The Sharp Talons has 2 attacks in close combat, and an extra attack with a -1 piercing for the fatal and lethal. So this is a very dangerous character to take on the board. He's absolutely brutal in combat. He is going to do so much damage. Now, what are his special rules? As part of a charge, he makes it is an additional 3 inches instead of a normal 2. And if you sprint, you get a +1 to your sprint roll. So it makes him even faster, which makes sense. I.e. he's a hunter, and getting into combat is what he's wanting to do. So it really fits what he does. With the 1 fatal fortune there, if he destroys a unit in-game, he now gets 2 fortune for the end of a turn. Back down to 1 at the end. You can also redeploy, I don't know, because it says trail finders. He can redeploy a single unit within their deployment zone, which is fantastic. It's a great move. So once everyone's deployed, you can go, actually, I don't want them there, I want them here, and helps you prepare for the battle. This is such a lovely model. He is absolutely brutal in combat. He is well worth taking. He's only 15 points. And He's £19. So he's, again, relatively cheap for a model, especially a major named character within the game. He's a lovely model. He's well made. He looks just fantastic. I really love Warcradle for their work on this stuff. It is some of the best stuff models I have ever seen, and this guy just shows off their absolute level of creativity that they have. Like I said, it's a fantastic idea of a model, and it fits everywhere else. Just great. I honestly think this is a model well worth getting just to display, just to show off as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you wish to actually get some more Wild West Exodus or Lost Exodus stuff, as well as other games such as Kings of War, there is the link to Wayland Games down below. I do get 5% commission on that one, and you get free delivery after £20. There is also Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, mangas, toys, plushies, etc. My merchandise, t-shirts, cups, everything else you expect. My comics as well. And finally, Skyforge. Actually, I forgot about Patreon, but I'm going to talk about it. Skyforge, he's a friend of mine, just giving him some love. And finally, there is my Patreon. I should really start updating that a bit more. But there you go. Bye-bye.